Hello there. At a lunchtime press conference today, the Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage dropped a big general election bombshell. At a press conference this lunchtime to put forward his party's general election strategy, the Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage announced that he would form a unilateral Leave alliance with the Tories by not standing candidates in the 317 seats that the Conservatives won at the last general election in 2017. So when you remove these 317, as well as the 18 seats in Northern Ireland where the Brexit Party is not registered to stand candidates, as well as the seat of Chorley, which will not be contested by major parties because it is held by the new Speaker of the House of Commons, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, that only leaves 314 constituencies for the Brexit Party to field candidates in. That means there will be a disappointed 286 candidates that had been lined up to fight across Great Britain, as well as many bewildered Brexit Party supporters and donors who will now wonder how this will help change politics for good. The Tory Prime Minister Boris Johnson has obviously welcomed this news and has tweeted, "Only a Conservative majority can get Brexit done by the end of January with a deal that's agreed and ready to go. We welcome Nigel Farage's recognition that another gridlocked Parliament is the greatest threat to getting Brexit done. If we have another hung Parliament, it would lead to 2 more chaotic referendums next year. The Conservatives only need 9 more seats to win a majority and leave by the end of January with a deal. We can then finally move on as a country and focus on the priorities that matter to you and your family." So how did Nigel come to this decision? Well, in his announcement today, he said that when the Boris deal was first unveiled, he had been very unhappy with it. But now Farage says that if he fielded 600 candidates, then the most likely outcome would be a hung Parliament. And also that Boris's comments yesterday on not extending the transition period beyond December the 31st, 2020, as well as his stated aim of pursuing a proper Super Canada Plus free trade deal with no political alignment, has persuaded him that he should pursue this new election strategy. But Farage asked himself the important question: how does he and the Brexit Party hold Boris to account for these statements? And he answered it by saying that the Brexit Party would have to win seats in the Labour heartlands to do it. Farage also said that in his view, this act by the Brexit Party would prevent a damaging second EU referendum, something he said was the single most important thing to accomplish. Now, all those that would have supported Boris and his deal to not only get Brexit done, but more importantly to keep the Tories in power, are roundly applauding this announcement. But equally there will be those who will feel very let down. But a word of warning to those that believe this will naturally lead to a massive overall Brexit win. The truth is, it will lead to the Tories winning by a healthy majority. And that is something completely different to an assured Brexit win. Remember that the current Conservative MP candidates are still full with previous Remainer-leaning MPs. And in the places that Tory MPs have stood down, the same few constituency party members that chose Remainer MPs last time will be choosing their replacements. So if the Conservative Party gets back into power, then the Commons will still be stuffed with Tory Remainers. And I don't care what promises they make, at some stage they will revert to type. Also, when Boris Johnson, who will presumably end up as Prime Minister again, casts around for people to put in his cabinet, he'll mostly have the same crowd to choose from. So we'll probably end up with a mostly Remainer-bent administration. Again. So I'll leave you to decide what will happen when Boris is still talking about not extending the transition period talks beyond the end of 2020 and promising to go deal or no deal, or when he talks about not being tied into all sorts of EU rules and regulations that prevents us really exiting the orbital control of Brussels. And from his past behaviour, Boris has already proved that losing the Tory party whip can be regarded as a short-term response to Brexit rebellion that can be rescinded once the issue concerned blows over. So not much of a deterrent for going rogue in order to soften the Brexit future relationship right down, is it? Now this may not come as a welcome thought, but I'm wondering if Nigel Farage has now totally blown his claimed chances of ever changing politics for good. Because if it all goes pear-shaped this time, I may be wrong, but I'm not sure he'll be able to rally the troops and the donors to the same cause again. They'll just say, "That's what you said last time." Especially the ones who've already spent a lot of time and money in the constituencies he's abandoned to the Tories today. And it may all make no difference anyway. According to YouGov, the most important factor is the swing between the Tories and Labour. And YouGov goes on to say, on current polling, we have seen around a 4% swing from Labour to the Conservatives, which would see the Tories gaining a large chunk of seats off Labour in places like Barrow-in-Furness, Great Grimsby, Workington, Bridgend, Gower and Stoke-on-Trent Central, whilst Labour gain few, if any, seats off the Conservatives. Given this, Farage's decision to stand aside in Conservative-held seats and not in Labour-held seats will likely make very little difference. Now, before the final news items, I just want to say a big thank you to my viewers and my subscribers, and especially my donors. And you can find a link to Patreon and other donation services in the descriptions box and the first pinned comment below. I'm also informed that YouTube doesn't always notify you when I put up new content. So for more political and Brexit insights, it's easier to just check out my channel every evening. Now to the UK economy, the despite Brexit bit. The Office for National Statistics' latest data out today shows that the UK trade deficit in goods and services has reduced by £5 billion to £6.5 billion in Q3. And this, says the ONS, is largely down to a growth in exports. Not only that, the surplus in services trade increased by £4 billion. And the ONS also says that the trade in goods deficit with non-EU countries narrowed £2.3 billion to £9.9 billion in Q3 2019, while with EU countries it widened £1.3 billion to £23.3 billion. So we have a narrower trade gap deficit with the countries outside the single market than those inside it. Go figure. UK construction output also increased by 0.6% in Q3 after decreasing in Q2. This was mainly caused by a rise in the amount of new work, said the ONS. Then there's the gross domestic product figures that also came out today. And they show that the economy grew by 0.3% in Q3, but over the year it has only grown by 1%, which is the slowest rate of quarter-on-year growth since Q1 2010. But remember that it is still growth, when we were told that a vote for Brexit would cause all kinds of calamities. One ONS statistician said, GDP grew steadily in the third quarter, mainly thanks to a strong July. Services again led the way, with construction also performing well. Manufacturing failed to grow as falls in many industries were offset by car production bouncing back following April shutdowns. And as to foreign exchange, as I speak, sterling is up on the day, up on the week, up on the month, and higher than it was a year ago. So not too shabby for an economy being dragged down by Remainer-instigated uncertainty, is it? Anyway, what do you think? Please share and comment, and thank you for watching.